You know nothing. People buying travel insurance know nothing. In car insurance, there's a million guys doing this. In life insurance, there's a million guys doing this. In travel insurance, there's one. There's me and my team. That's it. Doesn't exist. The world of travel insurance is a complete black box. Nobody understands it. Nobody knows what they're buying.
So let me ask you this, where does Kidnap and Ransom fall in? Is that something that can be added to a normal travel insurance policy, or are there travel policies that have it built in, or is it a separate coverage altogether?
Some people, they're like, you do travel insurance? Like, what is that? It's like $10. Like, they don't understand the entirety of the whole world of travel insurance. If someone would call and doesn't have an expensive trip and are just traveling domestically, we would probably not recommend they even get travel insurance. Do you know what the hell you're buying? No, you don't. This is a fact. Nobody does.
You're not going to go to an insurance agent to book your travel. Why in the world are you buying your insurance from a travel agent? We're each experts in what we do and need to stay in our own lane. I mean, that's one of the things that drives me nuts.
You know, travel insurance is something that really is complex, and really, for whatever reason, it's left to laymen.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game. And one of the ways we do that is we teach you to be an advocate for your client in things that you might not even have thought of. And today, our guest is going to show you one of those ways. We're going to be talking with Mr. Ben Camille from Travel Defend. And I told him, I said, I guess we're going to be talking about travel insurance. And he's like, nah, man, it's going to get way better than that. So I have high hopes and expectations for this, that we're going to give you a great podcast to hear about his journey as an entrepreneur, the systems they've built, and then ultimately how you might be able to replicate some of that in your business, but also maybe integrate with their offerings to help your clients with solutions to problems that they may not even realize they have. So that being said, what's up, man? We're ready to roll.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get too much into it, why don't you kind of give everybody your background a little bit and how you got to where you're at with Travel Defend today?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story because I have a little bit of a unique journey. I mean, I know a lot of people obviously dealt with COVID and all that kind of thing, but it really affected me in quite a unique way. So before starting Travel Defend, for 17 years, I ran luxury tours. And when I'm talking luxury tours, super high end. I mean, just for a week, I mean, families would pay $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 just for a week. Okay. So when I'm talking luxury, I'm talking uber luxury. And I knew, and that really, COVID obviously shut us down. That's a whole other discussion we probably don't need to get into. Coming out of that, I realized, just for my own business, no one was going to book these tours without travel insurance. And so, being the entrepreneur that I was and that I am, I said, you know what? I'm not concerned with just selling something to them and then they have paper and then like, what do they do in real life? That was my focus. And so it's so weird. I just got obsessed with it. Even though it was just one kind of small-ish aspect of my business, as soon as I got into it, I started learning all about the different policies. I said, who are the players here? Who actually pays these bills? And I started to realize and really learn this whole world. And I started selling it to my own clients. And then I went to all the other tour operators in my niche. I said, look, you guys are in the same boat. Okay. You know nothing. People buying travel insurance know nothing. I said, they need real help with this. I said, why don't you send your people to us? We'll send you back a commission anyway. And it just started really exploding. I started to realize, you know what? This has potential to be actually a better business than tours. And at this point, we're only 2.5 years in. I mean, we have hundreds of tour operators that we partner with, thousands of clients. And the concept really is, just so I could break it down so you really understand it, without us, how do you buy travel insurance? So let's say the majority of our clients, they're luxury clients. Let's say you're going to safari, African safari. Let's say, I just use that as an example. Let's say that's a $50,000 trip, right? You want to make sure your 50 grand is protected. You also want to make sure medically, God forbid something happens in Africa, you're protected in that way. Do you know what the hell you're buying? No, you don't. This is a fact. Nobody does. Okay. You go to Allianz, you go to AIG, you don't know anything. And so what happens is you also could go to like Squaremouth or whatever, which is like an Expedia type website, which will give you, again, 100 options, which again, you know nothing. And what do you do in real life if you actually have a problem? You're faceless. You're nothing. No matter who you are to insurance company, you are nothing, right? And so with us, with our brokerage, which is the only one that exists in America, by the way, you call us, let's say your tour operator will say, look, we know nothing. We know nobody knows anything. Call Travel Defend. They will take care of you. We're a concierge service. We have a whole team here. They'll call. Our team will take care of them. We'll figure out what is the best policy for your situation because, again, we're experts in all of them. We'll do the paperwork for you. Make sure you're protected in real life. We bring millions of dollars now to these companies. We have tremendous power. At many of these companies, we have our own dedicated claims analysts at these companies. And then we have a WhatsApp that's monitored 24 hours a day. So any issue you have on your trip, you reach out, our team will help you. And we add no cost. We don't add a penny to the cost. So the point is, why would you ever buy it on, let's say someone calls, I want to use Allianz, let's say, which they don't say that, but let's say they did say that. We'll say, fine, we'll sell you Allianz. How much is it on Allianz? Well, but now you're not nothing. Now you have us to help you. There's no downside. There's a tremendous opening here. And that's why, it's a big blessing. This business has been insane. I mean, it's growing like crazy and we're helping people in real life. And that's why I love doing it.
So you broke up at like the most crucial moment in that entire thing and it went dead air for a couple of seconds. But contextually, really? I'm going to recreate what I think you said, because I also think it applies to what I do. People can go buy their car insurance online from Progressive, but I also represent Progressive. If the price is the same for you to go to Progressive and buy that insurance versus coming to my agency, but with my agency, you get the learning management system, the mobile app, you get the claims advocacy and all of the other things that we bring to the table. Sure. Why wouldn't you buy it from our agency as opposed to what listen, Progressive is what it is, but ultimately a call center where when you're ready to have somebody be on your side of the table, it's not going to happen.
Correct. No, 100%. The only difference is that in car insurance, there's a million guys doing this. In life insurance, there's a million guys doing this. In travel insurance, there's one. There's me and my team. That's it. Doesn't exist. Why it doesn't exist, I couldn't tell you. But the point is that the world of travel insurance is a complete black box. Nobody understands it. Nobody knows what they're buying. Many people call and they say, look, we don't even know if we want to buy because we don't even believe that they're ever going to pay us. Okay. And if we didn't think they were paying, our company wasn't dealing well with our clients, we would offer different companies, meaning our only goal here is to make sure you get paid. Anyone we work with is going to give us tremendous commissions. We do crazy volume here. And so considering our only goal here is to get you paid, we will get you paid. And I have a crazy story. I don't know if this is the time in the interview to tell you, but it literally just happened this week.
Go for it,
This guy buys a policy with us, okay? It was a $5,500 policy. It's like a $110,000 trip to Barbados, whatever it was. And he didn't even ask us what travel insurance company it's with, because most of our clients, they just trust whatever we give them, right? Because this is our world. You don't need to ask a million questions because we really know what we're doing. If you wanted, we could. That's fine as well. Anyway, point is, he gets the policies to his email. He looks at them and he goes, oh, this is with Travel Insured International? No. I don't want that. That's a scam. Those guys don't pay. I had and he's telling me this whole story about how he had a policy that he bought 6 months ago through Travel Insured, the same company we put him with, but not using us. He bought it with his travel agent or whatever. These travel agents know nothing, right? Point is, he's stuck for 6 months and he says, I want to cancel the policies I did with you because we don't trust this company. And I said, fine, look, we'll find you a different company. But I want to be clear, if we are offering you this company, the reason we're offering, because they are fantastic. They're not crap. They're not a scam like you're saying, okay? I said, why don't you, he didn't buy this with us. He said, why don't you send us the details of that policy? Let us look it over. He sent it to us. We looked it over. We called. This was on Sunday, a week ago, Monday, which is exactly a week ago. We called our dedicated claims analyst. We said, look, this client of ours, he bought with us now, but he didn't buy it with us 6 months ago. Can you look into this and figure this out for him? Because I don't get what's going on here. There was a bunch of confusion, whatever. Point is, the next day, okay, he got notified by the insurance company that they're paying him that bill, okay? He's getting reimbursed for that trip. I mean, his mind was blown. He couldn't believe it. He's like, I've been fighting for 6 months. You got me paid in a day. And these are the type of stories that happen constantly here because
Well, I mean, the thing
nobody
is, man, let's
has
call it what
power.
it, yeah, let's call it what it is. You're not going to go to an insurance agent to book your travel. Why in the world are you buying your insurance from a travel agent? We're each experts in what we do and need to stay in our own lane. I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
things that drives me nuts with a lot of the embedded insurance stuff that you see right now, because literally
Yeah.
you can buy insurance for anything, any product that you buy, any trip that you book or
Yeah.
whatever, but you also have to be ready to go file the claim, have to argue with the adjuster yourself, know what the policy language is and be able to refer to it. What person on the streets is even able to do that stuff? And I don't understand why people think they're able to. We see it all the time with personal insurance and a lot of the time with commercial too, where somebody will call in and they're complaining about the rate. Well, yeah, the rate's going to be higher. We're offering you appropriate limits for what it is you're doing, not the state minimum that you're going to end up self-insuring for everything over $10,000. Like
Right.
it's a matter of educating people to begin with. So I'm
Yeah.
interested, talk about it a little bit because it's not necessarily easy to scale a business during and through COVID. How did you go about it?
Man, it's the wildest thing. Like I can't even believe it still to this day because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and starting a new business is very difficult. And essentially, once we got started in this way, I mean, it did help that I had my foot in the door in terms of the luxury market, in terms of tours, because that is what I did for almost 20 years. And so I did know quite a few people in the industry, but was not pushing it in any way. We just said, look, you guys are having the same problem. Who's going to book your tours without travel insurance? And they were all like, you're right. It's a problem. We don't know. And none of these guys want to just tell their, but to this day, we have not put a penny into marketing. Now I want to, and I'm going to, but I haven't done it yet. Just based on the fact that it's been growing so fast organically. I mean, we have thousands of clients at this point, and there's a lot of repeat clients, and we get a lot of new people just keep hearing about it, need help with it, call us. And so it really has been a pretty wild ride so far.
So I lost you for like 20 seconds.
Well,
You,
I don't get what's going on.
I don't know.
I really don't
You
understand.
froze on video and your audio went out completely.
I don't know. I've never had any issues like this before. I mean, my internet is almost at 70, 80. I don't know. It's
I
going
don't
pretty
know, man.
fast.
It's weird because it's like now you're back into sync, but you like again, you built up to like the moment I was waiting to hear, and then it was gone for like 20 seconds, and then you came back, you were out of sync again, and now you're frozen again.
Mm.
You're frozen right now. Now you're back.
I don't know. My internet's going really hot. It's at
Okay.
106.
Well,
I don't know.
let's
I
keep
don't
rolling
know.
with it because we download the audio tracks individually, so hopefully they can get that synced and it's not going to have cut out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this figured out. I really don't know. It's too bad.
So anyhow, maybe just go back and give that last little bit again. You were talking about how you had all the contacts in the luxury travel and everything else, and then you got to that point and it was like dead silence.
Right. So should I start from the beginning? I don't know exactly what I said, but
You can start over. That's fine. We can edit it
okay.
out.
Yeah, so it's just been a really wild ride. I mean, because we started at that time when we went to all these other tour operators that all knew that they knew nothing about travel insurance, they needed a lot of help with it. And so as we went to different, partners and friends that I had in the industry, it really grew organically from that point. And then we started helping all of their clients. And because it does have a competitive advantage, which I think gets lost in translation sometimes. A lot of times people will start a business, but there is no competitive advantage. Since we had one, everyone knew this is a better way to buy travel insurance, and it just organically grew from there. I mean, we literally have never spent a dollar in marketing, which I'm not necessarily happy about. I want to change that, but we actually just growing the business internally, foundationally, and just handling what's coming in has been where we're at right now. I mean, it grows. I mean, we're over 100% growth year to year, so it's pretty crazy.
So why would somebody need travel insurance? I know obviously lobbing you a softball, but I can't take for granted that anybody listening to this even understands what it is you're insuring. I have a general understanding because
Sure.
I have quite a few international clients that we have to write for involuntary workers' comp and other coverages for. But,
Yeah.
travel and accidents completely different. And I mean, I can understand people using it to protect a huge investment like a luxury vacation or a honeymoon or whatever else. But what about the people that are just like, I just got back from the Bahamas for a week with my family. We went down to Atlantis. We didn't spend a huge amount of money, maybe 25,000 bucks to do it. But, you know, I didn't buy travel insurance. I'll be the first one to tell you that. What did I miss? What could have happened to me that I would have
You should
regretted?
have. Right. So let's talk just, holistically so everyone's clear. The only thing they can do for you before your trip is give you your money back. There is no other benefit to travel insurance before the trip. Once you start the trip, you have something called in-trip benefits. The most important one is medical coverage. Okay. God forbid something would have happened to you in the Bahamas, either hospital, doctors, medications, whatever health insurance you have at home likely would not have covered you properly. Certainly medical evacuation. Again, for just medical, very cheap. What are we talking about? $100, $200, nothing. It's peanuts. What makes travel insurance expensive is your age and how expensive is your trip. So if you don't want to protect your trip, let's say you said it's 25 grand, but I'm cool not protecting that. Get me just the medical part. What are you talking about? $200? It's nothing, but it's still very important. We had a man 2 weeks ago in the Caribbean. Listen, he was 81 years old, fine, but he had a stroke. He needs to be medically evacuated. I mean, it was over $800,000. There were 7 doctors on the plane. He almost died. So the point is, very dangerous to travel without travel insurance, certainly the medical. And then you have all the ancillary stuff, trip delay, which they can pay for hotels and meals while you're delayed, bag delay, baggage loss, things like that. But the main focus really is trip cost and the medical coverage. If you think you have coverage overseas, again, just speaking generically, you probably don't have what you think you have. Even if you do, it's probably secondary coverage or what, maybe it's emergency coverage, which only covers what they deem to be an emergency, whatever. It can get very dicey. There's no reason for anyone to travel outside of America without at least that base. And it's not expensive. I'm not pushing anything expensive. It's just, if you work here for a week, you'll be very paranoid. We see sickness, injury hospitals all day here. So it's just a kind of outlook. My wife and Panama about a month ago. And obviously they're not, my kids are 9, my wife's 30. We're not talking about anything crazy, but the first thing I did was get them travel insurance just because it's something I believe strongly about in real life for myself as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point, man. I actually did have travel insurance. I just wanted to see how you would answer the question if I said I didn't. Because I do subscribe to the product for all the reasons you mentioned, not the least of which is I don't want to have any medical procedures in a Bahamian hospital if I can get
No,
repatriated back to, Miami or
correct.
Fort Lauderdale. But I mean, I think that a lot of times when people think travel insurance, what they're thinking about is going on Delta Airlines, booking your ticket, and then signing up for something to insure against, you not being able to take that flight or whatever else.
Right.
I almost view, the cost of the trip like comp and collision on an auto policy, right? If you own your car and you know the value of it, you know how much you have at risk, go ahead if you want to self-insure. You can buy an insurance product and here's what it's going to cost, but if you don't agree with that amount, then that's fine. Self-insure for the trip.
Right.
But you don't want to self-insure for liability because you don't know what that's going to cost. Just like you don't want to self-insure for anything that could happen to you from a medical standpoint when you're out of the country or otherwise. Maybe even, I don't know about domestically how that stuff works because I don't know. I'm not as concerned about whether or not I have a medical event and I'm out of state somewhere. Last summer I was, because I went on a fishing trip up to the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska, and that's not right
Uh-huh.
around the corner. So, I think
Right.
that, that was a wise purchase. But from what I'm hearing from you, it is. It's just like, it's not an expensive thing, but it could be. Could be if you don't have it.
It could turn into a big problem. Yeah. I mean, that's why some people, they're like, you do travel insurance? Like, what is that? It's like $10. Like, they don't understand the entirety of the whole world of travel insurance. But certainly, even if you're within America, the only thing I would say is Alaska cruise, for example. If you're on a cruise ship and God forbid something medically does happen, even in America, you may need to be medically evacuated off the cruise ship because the cruise ships, they don't have any real medical facilities there. And that's where we've had the majority of the evacuations that, as a company, we've been a part of have been on cruises. Getting someone off a cruise onto the mainland or back to America, whatever it is, that's something that you may want to consider, even though you're not leaving America. But typically, if someone would call and doesn't have an expensive trip and are just traveling domestically, we would probably not recommend they even get travel insurance. Like, we're not here to push anything. We're here to do what's best for the client. If we hear someone call and it makes no sense, we're like, and by the way, it happens a lot. People call to buy stuff that they don't even need, doesn't make sense. And we explain it to them. We say, I don't think you even need to buy this. Because we know that ultimately our main focus is just doing the good work for the people. Everything else is going to take care of itself, you know?
Well, I can tell you, brother, I was on a fishing trip and it would have been a hell of a lot harder to get me out of there than if I was on a cruise boat. So there was 100% chance I was buying travel
Right.
insurance for that trip for sure.
Right.
And I think that's the important thing for people to realize is that it's not just, the cost of your trip that you're worried about. It is all of the medical things and other stuff that can happen. I mean, what about, let me ask you this. What about if you're in an area, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with this by any stretch, but I mean, think about Haiti right now, and all the unrest that's in Haiti. What happens
Yeah.
if I'm down there and all of a sudden, all of this stuff breaks out that we're seeing now and I got to get out of there? I mean, does travel insurance get me out of Haiti so that I'm back to safety, or do I have to have some sort of a medical event to trigger the coverage?
Right. So I want to just clarify your question because you can't say does travel insurance, right? There's a world of travel insurance, meaning one policy may, other policies won't. There is something, well, now when I answer this question, I'll do it generically about a good policy, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I live in a world where we have thousands of carriers. So when I say it, I think it's
Right.
going to be assumed that I'm the expert in what I do. And when I give the
Right.
answer, I would be the one that places with you with the correct policy to cover
Yeah,
that.
right. So assuming you have the correct policy, there's something called political/security evacuation. Typically, the U.S. State Department or if you're using Haiti, the Haitian government would have to order a certain directive that is spelled out in the policy. It's called mandatory evacuation, that they're actually saying anyone who's not Haitian, get the hell out of here. Okay. If they do that, or if the U.S. State Department will put that type of advisory out that would recommend all U.S. citizens get out, that would trigger the security/political evacuation, which again, with a good policy is typically about 100 to 150,000 per person, which should be enough to get someone out. Like, we dealt with this a lot in Israel on October 7th.
I was going to say Israel had to have that happen because there's no way
Yeah.
that directive didn't trigger the policy of
Well, it
coverage.
wasn't that directive, actually. It was the directive of terrorist incident. Okay. So every policy will have, different directive. Also, U.S. State Department has to issue a level 4 advisory. In Israel, it never rose above level 3 for some reason. I don't know who makes these decisions on the levels of advisory. But the point is, terrorist incident did occur, and that's enough to trigger all the benefit of the policy. So when you have, we have many luxury clients, $100,000 trip with trip interruption is what it's called, or political security evacuation, whichever one you want to use, it's going to trigger tremendous benefit to get you home. Okay. And we have the 24-hour emergency assist companies. There's only a few of them that actually cover every travel insurance company. They all use one of just a few 24-hour emergency assist companies. We have the CEO's personal cell phone number. We have all the major players. They know us quite well. We deal with them on a consistent basis, unfortunately, because there's emergencies happening all the time. And so that's how we help. We're helping all of our clients get flights out, hotels paid for, even some hospital stuff. So really, it's sad. The world is really a crazy, terrible place. But we're so well versed in dealing with traumatic incidences that it just comes par for the course for our team. I mean, we know exactly what to do to help our clients.
So let me ask you this. Where does kidnap and ransom fall in? Is that something that can be added to a normal travel insurance policy, or are there travel policies that have it built in, or is it a separate coverage altogether?
Well, kidnap and ransom in what sense? Like, what do you mean?
I'm overseas and I get kidnapped, and now all of a sudden they're demanding a ransom. Typically, if you have a policy with Chubb or somebody like that, they're going to get the Ackerman group involved to come in, who are like experts at getting people.
That's not included in most travel insurance policies. They don't touch that.
Yeah. And so the reason I asked
Kidnapping,
the question is
ransom.
because the
Yeah,
majority of the people listening to this are commercial insurance producers, and that's a coverage we do sell. I
right.
specifically represent a lot of Department of Defense contractors, and it's something that you have to look at everywhere they're going, right? And so I want to make sure that people understand what it covered, what you can expect to reasonably be covered. But then there are things like that that no, this is
That's
not
not
something.
typically in travel insurance coverage. They don't mention kidnap, ransom, things like that. Again, there may be a policy out there that would have it, but if so, it would be rare. It's not common, for sure not.
And if you don't, if you're
I'm actually trying to pull one up and see if I can even find it, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's important because, we don't even think about a lot of these places, but Mexico City is one of the worst in the world to go to
Mm,
from a K&R
for
standpoint.
sure,
So if you have
for
clients
sure.
that are doing business in Mexico City and they think travel insurance is going to cover them if things go south, it's not, and most
It
likely
could
that's
be under security evacuation potentially, but I don't know how they would get you out. Like they certainly wouldn't pay the kidnappers. Like I don't imagine they would do that.
right.
Um, but
In
if you were
kidnap and
in a
ransom,
dangerous situation like that, they would evacuate you once you're safe in terms of security evacuation for sure. But they wouldn't free you from kidnappers. I can't imagine that.
yeah, and kidnap and ransom is specifically designed to do that. I mean, that's the rule of thumb in insurance, man. If your
Yeah.
policy, if it's excluded on the policy that's written, it's because the coverage is better placed somewhere else. There's a policy specifically designed for it.
Yeah. So political security evacuation it includes kidnapping here. But again, it's saying that they'll pay to get you out, but they're not going to pay the kidnappers. No.
Good deal. What have we missed?
What have we missed? Um, I don't know, man. I mean, like, really, I think the core point is that, travel insurance is something that really is complex and really, for whatever reason, it's left to laymen. And everyone is just kind of running around buying whatever they're buying. And let's be clear, they're buying it because these companies are doing billions, okay, billions a year. And so travel insurance is being bought, and it's being bought in a terrible way, in my opinion, which allows us to kind of really help that big hole in the market. And so if that's anything that they get out of it is just the education that either dedicate effort to knowing what you're buying or just come to us and we will help you.
I almost wonder if it's like the statistics that people give out about gift cards at the holidays, right? That all these gift cards are given as gifts, but such a small percentage, and it's an incredibly small percentage relative to what I would have thought are actually ever redeemed for anything. So it makes me wonder,
Right.
with how the travel insurance that you see through purchases of airline tickets or whatever else is embedded into the transaction at such a low cost. I wonder how many times, not necessarily like the example that you gave earlier, but how many times does somebody have it, but it's never even, of claims never even filed?
For some reason, now it must be statistical or whatever, but I would say this year, or maybe in the last 6 months. I mean, for us, it doesn't matter because we're not the ones paying your claims. I mean, we want you to get paid. That's why we're on your side to get paid. But we have tons of claims. I mean, percentages are very high. In the year before, it was quite low. So I don't know. I think it's just things happen. It's hard. I don't have that data because it's not relevant to my business, because we're not the ones paying you. But the reality is sometimes, as you know, in insurance, these companies really do get hammered. A thing like Israel, I mean, we had thousands. I mean, I think about 4,000 clients in Israel at that time, specifically on October 7th. And so insurance companies were paying out millions and millions of dollars for these, kind of big events. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy being on in terms of insurance, because you got to deal with a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to rates after something like that. Because if travel insurance is set up the way that any other type of insurance is set up, whoever the carrier is that writes the policy is only paying for a percentage of whatever the loss would be, and they reinsure against the rest. So something like Israel is going to definitely tap into the reinsurance marketplace, and once that reinsurance starts moving up, everything moves up underneath it. So while today it's extremely affordable, it's worth looking at to see what the overall impact of that's going to be.
Yeah, I haven't seen it rise yet that I've noticed, but yeah, listen, they are going to, make it a profitable product for them. It doesn't mean that it's something that isn't wise to buy for you, though. I think medical will always be relatively cheap, but where you do see prices start to rise is with elderly people and very expensive trips. That makes them really nervous because think about Israel. We're talking about just the event that happened. In these policies, any trip that anyone had planned within the following 30 days of that event could cancel. I mean, we're talking about unbelievable amount of money. I mean, thousands and thousands of policies of trips that people had upcoming, and there could have been major dollar value on the line there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. It could be crazy. I'm happy I'm on the other side of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, unlike how you guys are set up, we do get affected by that stuff. So when claims pay out on my side of the house, it affects our agency's loss ratio, which affects my ability to bonus out at the end of the year for having profitable
Really?
business.
Wow.
So we actually share in the profitability, which is why frontline underwriting is so important in our
Right.
industry. Let me ask you this from the medical side. If you are looking at getting travel insurance, and I understand I'm asking you a blanket question, but I think that this one's probably going to apply to
Hmm.
most policies. What are the things that are most regularly excluded? Do you have to worry about pre-existing conditions? I have a son who has some neurological issues, special needs, nothing that really manifests itself as an actual health issue, but he could have a weakened immune system as a result to that. And if I'm a defense attorney for an insurance company that doesn't want to pay a claim, I would know a
Yeah.
whole lot about cerebral palsy and some of the other things. And so I'm just wondering, is it a situation where you really need to know whether or not you're even capable of getting it before you buy it?
No, you definitely should. I mean, a lot of people are buying things where they wouldn't be covered, but they don't know they're not covered, right? So these type of pre-existing situations, very important. If you get the correct policy, as long as you buy the policy within 21 days or maybe 14 days, depending on the company, of your trip, all pre-existing conditions should be covered. However, how do they define pre-existing condition? I don't know how deep you guys want to get into this, but like what you define as pre-existing condition may not be what the insurance company defines as pre-existing condition. So you mentioned, you have child with this situation. The way they define it in most companies is, has there been any material change in the last 60 days or last 90 days? Any new medications, any flare-ups of condition, anything like this? If not, then you don't even have a pre-existing condition to worry about. Even though in your mind it's a pre-existing condition, it's not, according to the insurance company. If you do this correctly, they're very lenient on pre-existing conditions, maybe too lenient, in my opinion, but very lenient. I mean, you could get really anyone covered for anything, and there's really no exclusion. In Canada, they do have exclusions, like, or in other countries, you'll really have to prove someone's health before they'll let you buy travel insurance. In America, it's really just statistic based. So there really is, again, assuming you do this correctly, anyone can get covered for anything. It's pretty lenient in that way.
How much do you worry about fraud?
Well, I don't worry about fraud at all, again, because I'm on the other side of it. So again, I don't care. I just want to make sure the insurance company is getting paid. I will tell you though, when you do file a claim, the amount of information that they require from you, even if it's not tons of stuff, but you're going to have enough there that it would be very difficult to prove to be a fraud. I mean, when you have to show flights and you have to show credit card statements and you have to show invoices, and you have to show itinerary, and you have to get a letter from the doctor is probably the easiest one to fraud. You know, whether you're actually sick or not, that's probably the easiest thing. But to prove that you weren't going on this trip, and let's say, because that's a great business. I mean, let's say you give a travel insurance company, you take, you know, someone who's 20 years old, give $500 to protect 30 grand or whatever. I mean, you do that all day if you can get them to pay out, right? So point is, I don't believe personally that there's fraud involved in any claims or anything like that. I think, especially with our clients, I mean, we speak to them directly. We hold their hand through the claims process. We don't get any vibe that there's any fraud going on. Honestly, I don't feel that. I feel like everyone's quite honest about, they want to go on their trip. I mean, someone paid 30 grand to go on the trip. They usually want to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually asked the question because I had a travel agent one time that wanted to sell me travel insurance on a cruise that we were going on with my father-in-law, who has had some known medical issues and was having them at the time, and we knew was going to have them leading into the cruise. And I said, I can't in good conscience buy travel insurance for something I know has got a greater than 50% chance of actually being a claim. And she's like, oh, well, just tell him that he got the flu or something. I'm sure you can find a doctor that'll sign off on it. So that, like, there is no more blatant fraud than that, man. So you may not see it where you're at, but I've heard it firsthand from travel agents selling your product, which people, it's exactly why you said you don't go to a travel agent to buy the product to begin with. They don't even understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, we try and give people honest answers, and sometimes we tell people if you would do that, it would be fraud. Okay, but I don't get the sense that it's common. At least in my, you know, we speak to thousands of people here. To me and to my team, I mean, it really feels like, yeah, maybe we're naive. I don't know. It feels like the strong 99% are very honest, good people, just trying to get protected properly. That's honestly the vibe that I get.
So how do you integrate with other agents?
Well, other tour operators or travel agents?
No. Like if I'm a personal lines agent and I have a high net worth practice and my clients, you know, travel all over the world and I want to get them involved with somebody that can provide them with the appropriate travel insurance. And I listen to this podcast today and hear you talk, and I'm like, that's the guy I need to go with. What does that look like? Is there a way to have a business relationship with other agents?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we don't currently do that. I mean, what we do partner with is tour operators, travel agents, but that's a fantastic idea. If anyone needs that help, we would treat it the same as any tour operator, travel agent. We give a commission of 20% of whatever we get. Now, all policies pay at different commission rates, so it's hard to say like a blanket statement what it would be. Also, this is really a volume game. It's not going to be big bucks if you have a few clients. You know, that's not going to. It's for us, it is because we have thousands of these. But you know, yeah, we'll set up that relationship. Whatever comes in, you know, we kick you back every 60 days. You get a wire to your account. Very simple, not difficult at all. Typically, we have our onboarding portal. Fill out a few things, and we're ready to rock and roll and help your clients. We recommend the client call us directly because these clients typically, if they're luxury travelers, they're going to have like a million questions, and we don't want anyone else answering these questions because typically they give wrong answers. And that's a world we don't want to be in. So we tell all of our partners, don't answer any questions. I know they're very like motivated, and my client was asking me, and like, don't answer anything. Just say, call Travel Defend. They will help you. We're licensed for this. This is our expertise. In almost every case, when someone says, my travel agent or my tour operator said, blah, 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 it's always wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Don't talk to these people because you don't know what you're talking about, right? I'm sure it's the same in all the other insurance lines that you deal with.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And everybody's an insurance expert, except they're not. You know,
Yeah, they're not.
It's crazy.
Even
Well,
the people working at the companies, by the way, this has happened quite a few times where someone will call the company directly, probably got some Filipino, call center or whatever. And the person representing the insurance company gave them wrong information, which is verified like by the policy itself. And so very dangerous. You know, you really have to call experts that know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree wholeheartedly, which is why I don't write travel insurance. I don't know enough about it to
I
even
know
mess.
nothing about any other insurance, dude. I know nothing about car insurance, nothing about life insurance, nothing about anything. Just travel insurance. That's all I know, but I do
Yep.
know it well.
Yep. Obviously so, man. Well, listen, what's your website? How do we get people in touch with you?
Yep. So we're just at traveldefend.com. We're defending you. Travel Defend. There's no hyphen, nothing weird there. Straight up traveldefend.com. You can call us 1-800-578-2871. We have a whole team standing by. We're all ready to help you, do the paperwork for you, make sure you're protected. We don't add any cost here. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up in the spirit of having one more of these on my marathon recording day today, so that we can move on down and be respectful of Ben's time as well. But this has been Ben Camille with Travel Defend. So many nuances to travel insurance. If you're like me, you realize how little you know about it. Go to the expert, reach out to this guy. Whether you need a brokerage relationship or not, I kind of agree with Ben. It's not going to be a lot of money. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's probably not worth your time and energy to sign up and track this stuff, because ultimately it's not what you specialize in. So the value you get from a relationship like this is knowing that somebody who's a lot more versed in the policies than you is going to be the one taking care of your client. And that's never going to be a bad thing when you give your client a good recommendation. So I encourage you to at least check out their website. And if you have a need arise or your clients are talking about it, by all means, I would definitely, encourage you to recommend Travel Defend and at least have them talk to somebody that knows more about it than those of us who don't specialize in it. So thanks for taking time to join us today, Ben. Really appreciate it. And look forward to dropping this episode when it comes out in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great being here.
Yes, sir. Take care.